Hello, how are you? Welcome along to the channel. My name's Shaban. Please subscribe. Subscribe before we go any further, please, because I have a lot to vent about. A lot to just let out of my system. It's been a long time coming, but I would appreciate a sub for such honesty. That's fair, isn't it? That's fair. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you're enjoying the summer break. I feel like I haven't been on in ages. I feel like Rush and I haven't been with you in ages because, well, we haven't been together in ages. Thanks for all your birthday wishes. Part of the thing I didn't want for my birthday was for this to be true, but it is true. This is football. There's no loyalty in football, and we've had that time to process that Vivianne Miedema has left Arsenal. It was quite the scenes, wasn't it? Our final game at Meadow Park. That moment where somebody booed at Jonas and the crowd went silent and it was the most obvious thing. And Vivianne Miedema had her moment with the fans. That send-off, I mean, the record goal scorer in the Women's Super League, to leave Arsenal, for them not to tie her down, for her not even to be leaving and them getting a profit. It's just bizarre. 125 goals and 50 assists and 172 appearances. The WSL's leading all-time top goal scorer. And she left Arsenal when the contract came to an end. Now, this surprised me at the time because I remember thinking, well, it was a tricky season for Viv, of course, being out with the injury. She's struggled since the injury. But actually in that last game of the season, you know, that magic moment, that touch, that was Viv looking back to her best since COVID, you know, and I thought to myself, as Jonas put it so rightfully, she got to write her goodbye script and no other players can do that, but Vivianne Miedema can do it. And you let her go for a free to a rival. Vivianne Miedema has signed for Manchester City. Now, here we go, because if you're an Arsenal fan, you'll still be reeling over the last couple of seasons because they've been off it, haven't they? They've brought in big players. They've spent good money. They've invested in the team. They're playing at the Emirates. But, of course, winning the Conti Cup isn't enough. It's not satisfying enough when Arsenal have dominated the WSL for so many years. And then you look at the competition around you now. You look at what Chelsea have done over the last 5 seasons in the Women's Super League to go on and win the league just then. But Manchester City being one of the key rivals, and to lose Vivianne Miedema on a free to strengthen your rival feels like actual suicide. And I can't understand how they've allowed that to happen. And you know, I love spending time at Bournemouth and the Emirates. But this one hurts, you know, this one's a sore one, and I feel it's also a huge mistake on their part that they've allowed this to happen. Not only one, have they lost the best striker that maybe the league has ever seen, but she's directly now strengthened a rival. And I'm happy for her. I feel if a player deserves a shot at a top club to be Champions League football, a good heart, a good person who works her socks off and perhaps has maybe been mistreated in this situation. I feel from the outside looking in, it feels like there's a mistreatment there. I want her to be successful. And, you know, that is at Arsenal's detriment that happens. And you can let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I saw a couple of journalists like Flo Lloyd-Hughes, who I worked with at TalkSport, great girl, knows her stuff. She was the only one who I really saw going, you know, it's time for a fresh start, a new chapter for Arsenal. And I actually see that and I appreciate it and I hear it. And some other people were in the comments saying completely agree. But other than that, it felt like a lot of people were saying this is a huge mistake. Why have they let this happen? How did they let this happen? And what the hell is the problem there? And also, even though personal life shouldn't come into it when you're on the pitch, but how that affects then her personal life, you know, how that affects the team, you know, and I think that is something that might come into consideration. I want it to be a more competitive season from Arsenal. I don't want to see them be beaten by West Ham. I don't want to see them be beaten by Liverpool. And obviously Mariona Caldente coming to the club is a huge signing. But I'm not surprised that they've signed huge players. I don't understand why getting rid of Viv and not even making a profit when they could have tied her down last season and had someone buy her out. You know, it wasn't a more sensible idea. Perhaps I'm miles off it. Perhaps I'm still stewing a little bit. But jump in the comments and let me know your thoughts. But when we look at the season ahead, considering there are also other rumours about what might be happening with Arsenal this season, you look at that midfield, you look at the players who might be coming in. Caldente is done, which is brilliant. A lot of people will be happy with that, but I just don't know if the stars will align. And when I say that, I mean, you look at the superstars in that squad and it's not quite happened. It's not quite come to fruition. And I don't think losing Vivianne Miedema will be the answer for that either, because she's a player who can step up in big moments. And yeah, it's been a tough few seasons. Yes, you haven't seen the best of her, but injuries ravaged that side, you know, for best part of 2 seasons there. And now even look at Vic Palova now being out also with her ACL injury. You look at the rehab that players are going through, and she's someone who would have gotten you goals. You know, who would have gotten you goals. And I think if she goes on to Manchester City in the form that she finished up there in those last couple of games this season, where she looked sharp, she looked like she was getting there. You know, it seemed like the players around were going, Viv's looking good, Viv's performing, Viv's ready. I think to send her to City seems like a huge mistake on Arsenal's part. Not only the fans upset, but I think the club might live to regret that ever so slightly. Maybe I'll be eating my words next season, but it was an incredible run in, an incredible season last season for Manchester City in the Women's Super League. Undoubtedly, I mean, they were just outstanding, and to be picked in that final minute, and Arsenal, the team that took it from them, you know, in that second last game, was remarkable stuff. And that's what you want. That's what you want from the league. But I think Viv linking up with Jill Roord whenever she's back in play, with the business that they've done this window, the players they've got, the machine that they're building, I think City next season could be looking at nailed on favourites. Now, Chelsea, you know, just to go slight sidebar, Sonia Bompastor are coming in. The idea of Lucy Bronze going to Chelsea, okay, we're looking at really competitive sides, but a side that's kind of doing it continuously and building, I would like to see. And also, we just don't know what it's going to be like without Emma Hayes in the WSL, without her as Chelsea manager. Will it be the same? Will that side be able to do what she had done with that side for so long? And what about Fran Kirby? Mind blown. Brighton. I'd heard through a couple of people that the possibility of Fran going to Spurs looked likely. And then there was also the thought of London City. And I thought, oh my God, that's a great idea. It was reported that she wanted to remain in London or around about that area. I think she deserves an opportunity at a big club. But I think this seems like a nice match, and fair play to Brighton. That's a good player. They seem to be doing right by their players and for the club, and pushing it all in the right direction. But there's still some key players still being mentioned in this window. What will happen with Keira Walsh? Is it true? Will she go to the WSL? Will she join Arsenal? I remember that rumour going around this time last season too, and it wasn't to be. Perhaps she wants to leave Barcelona now after winning back-to-back Champions Leagues. And I think players like that will strengthen any club, that's for sure. But when you look at the competitiveness of the league, I mean, it's another mountain, isn't it? It's another mountain to climb. But just want to take a minute. Congratulations to Vivianne Miedema. On to pastures new. You will be missed. You're a good egg, good person, and maybe the best that I've ever watched. Your glorious little feet can make magic, and I hope she gets the opportunity to go and do that at Manchester City. She deserves that. I think it's a mistake from Arsenal, not only, you know, getting rid of her, but not even making a profit. Makes no sense to me. However, the new season is going to be an absolute belter, isn't it? I cannot wait. You can get in the comments. You can let me know your thoughts on the transfers that we've just mentioned. Also, of course, London City, just a mention from Ruth. She's back in training. I think she's excited from what's to come. Getting worked hard, and that's great to hear. But she can tell you about that soon. We're going to get together and do some stuff for you over the next weekend, so that'll be with you soon. But for now, please like, please subscribe, please get in the comments. Feel free to have your say. Is this a huge mistake from Arsenal to directly strengthen Manchester City with one of the best strikers and the record goal scorer that this league has ever seen? Let me know your thoughts on that. Bye, have a good weekend.